oftentimes in the culture that we grow up in, or as a man, we grind it out by nature, because the moment that we were young and the moment that we wanted to express ourselves as a black man, right, or a black boy, it was shot down. Like, you don't have no problems. You know how many times you done heard, well, you 13, you don't have no problems? What problems? You ain't got no problems? Like, no, it's 13, it's 11-year-olds out here that's struggling, right? And so for me, just being vulnerable, I grew up in that generation, right? So I grew up in that generation of you don't have no problems, or you couldn't express it, or men don't cry, right? We all done heard that, boys, men don't cry and things like that. Now I have a son, right? And so when you say it affects you, but it can affect your generations, right? Or your children, right? So now I have a son, and I had to learn that, no, boy or not, my son just turned 10. Like, if you cry, I don't care if you're 13. Let's get to the bottom of it. What's the reason you cry, right? And things of that sort. So it's going to come a point in time where you can't grind it out, right? Or you've been grinding too hard. And now you don't know how to express yourself. And so to your point, you don't want to be 70 or 80 that's done grinded your whole life away without addressing it. Because if you at 70 or 80, I promise you probably done had some kids that had some kids, and now they done created a whole generation of grinding, right? So it has to be some kind of balance.
Yeah, that's exactly. And that's what I'm trying to say, right? Like, the trauma is going to be there. Like, you've gone through, you already mentioned it, right? Like, you've been through a lot, bro. And my hope is that you are finding a way to process that while still being positive. Like, that's my hope. You seem like you're a well-rounded individual.
That was my point.
For sure, yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
I was about to say, that was my home point. Like, not like again, not to ignore the drama, address it, but then find the positives through the trauma.
Okay.
That was exactly what I was saying. I don't think I was saying too much other than just saying to the point, because it's been a long day. But yes, acknowledge and address the trauma. And then after addressing the trauma and how it's affecting you, see how everything else around it that's positive can lift you up through the trauma. That's what I was trying to say. My bad.
It's all good, bro. It's all good. We got there. Yeah. We got there. Yeah. We got there now. And I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you saying that too, because I think it's important for us to be able to disagree and not be fighting each other. So I like that y'all disagreed, but y'all wasn't at each other's neck. You know what I'm saying? And you didn't cut them off. You actually were about to, and you're like, oh, yo, let me chill out. You know what I'm saying? I like that. We got to do that more. Like, we got to be able to have a disagreement and not be like ready to fight each other, because that's how we learn. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to be able to learn when I always have the answers, or I feel like I always have the answers. I have to sit down and talk with a Mrs. Smith, or talk with a Wes, talk with you, brother, and have these different kind of conversations and see everybody's viewpoint and understand, like, okay, everybody has a different way of looking at things, but where can we find the common ground? Yeah. Or where am I making an assumption? Because there was an assumption there. You know what I'm saying? We just talked about that earlier. Yo, like, are we making any assumptions about stuff? And he didn't get to explain everything fully. And so it's like, all right, cool. We going based off of what you just said, but now there's more to it that he could have explained. And now we get to that rounded out point. So I appreciate you sharing that, bro.